Sego Sego Guego, Katie Young X Maracle Wax and Oz right here. I'm going to show you how to make these earrings. What you'll need is some beads, these longer styled ones. You can get them at your local bead shop, Amazon. You'll need some thread, a needle, earring hooks, and some little pliers. I like to put my beads on felt. I just find it helps them from rolling around. You'll also need some seed beads to match whatever your end colors are here. I got blue on this one, just to stop, make a stop at the end of your tails. So what you need to do is thread on some beads. So we're gonna go with this pattern here. As you can see, it is white and progresses to the blue. So what you need to do is put 2 blue on, 2 red, 1 orange, 1 yellow, and 1 white. Okay, and you'll see the trail there. So then we're just going to pull them down so you have about a 4 to 6 inch tail at the bottom here. And then what we're going to do is, as you can see there, I'm going to just push the beads back and we just have the first white bead here. What you're going to do is go through the tail end of that bead. It's going to create a loop around your bead, and that's going to be the start of your row. And then you're going to take the next bead, which is your yellow bead, and you're going to go through the tail end of that bead. Once you do that, you'll find you're creating another loop, and it should bring your bead next to your white bead. So they're kind of stacked on top of each other now. Okay, now what we want to do is reinforce that so it won't move. It's a tighter stitch. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back down through the white bead, the first bead that we went through. Pull it nice and tight, and then back up through the yellow bead, just to kind of create another loop in between those beads, and that should keep it put. There. Okay, and we're going to go ahead and finish that with our chain here, and they should all be stacked in a row once we're done. Again, just going through the tail end of your next bead to create that loop. Pull it nice and tight, and it should stack it on top of your other row. Going through your last bead, so that would be the yellow one in this case. Pulling it nice and tight. And back up through, oh, there we go. Back up through the orange bead. Again, that just reinforces it so it's not so wiggly and it'll stay put. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and do these other 4. Again, through the tail end to create that loop. They should stack on top of each other, and then just reinforce that stitch by going through the last bead just to create another loop within those 2 beads. It should help them stay put and keep from wiggling around. Okay, I got 3 more here. I'm just going to do it quick. Go. And then again up through the tail end. All right, so we're at the last one here, and again we're just going to go through the last bead you stitched through just to reinforce that loop. There we go. And you should have them all stacked on top of each other there. See? Okay, so next we're going to do is we're going to turn it this way. And if you look on the top of them, you'll see here there's some white string on the top, and they should be bridged between each bead. So the next bead that we're going to put on, because we're reducing one bead from each row, we're going to start with a blue bead. Blue. And we're just going to pull it right down, and it should sit on top of your other blue bead. And then you're going to go through that bridge underneath it. And once you've done that, just pull your needle through, and it should flip your bead over. There we go. Let's see, it flipped it over, and then we're just going to go back up through that bead, and it should keep it put right on top of the beads there. There we go. Okay, and we're going to go ahead and do that again. We'll need another blue bead. There we go. I'll push the blue bead down. It should stack up on top of your single one. And then you're just going to go down through your next bridge. So that is here. It's kind of hard to see, which is the next, in between the next two beads. You're just going to go under that bridge, pull it nice and tight. It should flip your bead over so it's sitting next to your other bead, and then just go up the bottom end of it. Okay, there we go. And then we're going to go with a red bead. Red. Again, pull it down the string. It should sit on top of your other bead here, and then just go through the bottom of the next bridge, and it should pull it next to your other two beads here. Again, just go up through the bottom of that bead. There we go. And they should stack nice and tight next to each other. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and do the next few and just try to follow your pattern. So you're just reducing in color. So we got blue, blue, then we'll be doing red, red, orange, and then a yellow. And that will be the end of this row. Orange, and at the last one here, which is a yellow. And that should end your row. So there we go. You should have two rows stacked on top of each other. You can kind of see the pattern coming together here. And we're back at the top here. So we're going to go the opposite way this time, and we're still going to reduce a color in the pattern. So in this one, we will start with orange instead of the yellow. My orange beads are over here. I'm just going to grab an orange bead and pull it down like we did before, and then just go through the first bridge that is available on the top here. You can see the little white dots. Just go underneath that, pull it nice and tight. It should flip your bead over. You might have to help the first one a little bit. And then just go up through the bottom of that bead, and that will start your next row. There we go. And then you will go to your red bead. Again, just go underneath the bridge. Pull it tight. It should flip the bead over. Go up through the bottom of the bead and just try to do it nice and tight. There you go. You can see the third row is forming. So again, with this pattern on this row, it's orange, red, red, blue, blue. Again, it's on top. Just go through the next available bridge. Pull it nice and tight. It should flip over, and then again, just go up through the bottom of that bead. There we go. And now we're on to blue. Up through the bottom. Oops. Pull it nice and tight, and again, see, you can see your third row is forming there. And last one for this row, whoops. And that is a blue one, there we go, blue. Pull it down, it should sit on the top. Go underneath the bridge. It should flip your bead over, and then go up through the bottom of that last bead. Get tangled here, there we go. Okay, and we're on to row 4. Again, just remember in this pattern we are reducing one bead in each row, and that means we need to watch our color patterns because we need to reduce the color as well. Since we're starting on this side, on the blue side, we're going to go blue, blue, red, red. There should be only 4 beads along this row, so I'm just going to go ahead and thread those. Again, it's the same thread style. So you come through the top, you go through the first bridge that's just in between the first 2 beads underneath that string. It should flip your bead over and then go up the bottom of that bead, pull it nice and tight. You got row number 4 started. And then we are going to put another blue on. There we go. Blue. Pull it up. Go under the next bridge, so that's just in between the next 2 beads. Pull it nice and tight. It should flip. Whoops. It's not here. There we go. It should flip your bead over. And then again, just go up through the bottom of that bead and pull it nice and tight. Okay, so we got 2 blue on there. We're gonna go with 2 red. And the red. Set it on the top. Go through the next available 2 beads. Oh, this one's a little tight. There we go. Pull it nice and tight. It should flip the bead over, and then again up through the bottom. Pull them nice and tight so they're snug next to each other. There we go. And we got the last one on this row, which is another red one. We'll go red. So stack it on top. Go through the bridge. Pull it through. And it should flip your bead over. There we go. Might have to help it a little bit. And then just go up through the bottom of it, just to hold it nice and snug in place. So there you go. You can kind of see our pattern coming together there. Okay, and then we are on row 5 here. again, reducing the color as we go along. In this one, we are going to do red, blue, blue, just because we're starting on the red side here. So we'll do one red, red, sorry, it's kind of fuzzy on my video here sometimes. Set it on the top, go through your first bridge, should flip that bead over. Like I said, the first one you might have to give it a little bit of help, and then thread underneath through the bottom of that bead, and it should hold it snug in place there. Let's start row number 5. Okay, and this row should only need 3 beads. So here's blue, there we go, right on the top, through your bridge, should flip the bead over, and then just go underneath that bead, pull it nice and tight, and it should stack it right nice and snug next to the last bead. Alright, and we're on to the last bead for this row, blue, let it stack, go through your bridge, watch it flip, and then go underneath the bead and up through the top. Boom. Alright, so we're on our last row here. The last row will just be 2 blue beads on the top. So we'll grab a blue one here. Blue, let that stack on top, go through your bridge, and then up through the bottom bead, and I'll just hold it snug in place there. Alright, last bead for this row. Whoop, there it is, getting away from me. Blue. There we go. Go through your bridge. Should flip your bead over, and through the bottom of that bead. Alright, well, there you go. You can see you have the top part of your earring here. And just to finish off this top piece, we're going to put some beads on the top just so it's easier to thread the hooks on later. So I just do 2 seed beads on the top. There we go, 2. Just let them go right down to the bottom there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through each of these end beads down my row. So I'm just going to go down my first one, just the outside bead. You can see it's stacked the 2 seed beads on the top, and then just down through your second row. Just watch you don't get tangled. Down through your third row. And your fourth row, if you can get your needle through more than one at a time, saves time. Whoops. So I'm down into my 5th row here. See here. And what I'm doing is I'm just bringing the string down to the bottom here so I can start making my tails. Whoops. So I'm just going to go ahead and thread that because it's being a little bit tricky. There we go. And there we go. So you can see now that we're down in the bottom corner here, and we're going to start this fringy section here. Okay, so what you'll need to do is thread on. Okay, so we're going to start here. I'm just going to do 1 blue bead. So here we are. Just watch you don't get tangled in the little tail there. There we go. So I'm just going to thread on 1 blue bead and 1 blue seed bead. We can really see that there. There we go. Okay, and then I'm just going to pull it all the way to the other work there. And then I'm going to go back through my beads, but I'm only going to go through my long bead. I'm not going to go through the seed bead. That's going to act as a stop at the end of my row here, and that's what's going to hold my longer beads on the tails, as you can see there. And then I'm going to go back up through that first bead on this first row of my work. You can see here. And that's just going to tie my first tail into, you can kind of wiggle it around so it'll tighten. There we go. So you can see it's coming down through my first row. My tail's here. And then I'm going to go up through the second bead beside it, just to come back down so I can do my next tail. And in the next tail, we're going to do, what do we got here? 2 blue. I'm going to grab 2 long blue beads. There we go. You can see. And then I'm going to put a seed bead on the bottom. There it is. And I'm just going to pull those right down like that. You can see? And then I'm going to go back through my work, but I'm only going to go through the longer beads. There we go. You'll see there. And then I'm going to go back up through that first row of beads just to tie it into that top piece of work. And you might have to wiggle it around, just watch you don't get tangled as you're pulling them tight. See, it's kind of loose, so I usually just lay it down, give it a good tug, and it should pull it right up into your other work. There you go. You can wiggle it around, make sure it's the way you need it to be. And then, as you can see, it's coming out the first row. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up through the next bead. So that's my third bead in to start my third tail. There we go. And in this one, I'm going to do 1 red, 2 blue, 1 seed bead. There we go. See it? Pull them all down nice and close to your work, and again, just go back through the longer beads. There you go. Again, I like to lay it down and then just put my finger on the tail and give it a good tug, and it should slide up closer to your other work. There we go, we're on the third tail. Again, you're just going to go down through the first row of your work just to tie it into the top part of your earring here. And just make sure when you're pulling it through that you're not getting tangled in the other ones. So again, you can see that it's coming up through your first row, and then you're just going to go back down the next bead to create your next tail. And with this one, we are on to 2 red, 2 blue. So I'm going to thread on 2 red, 2 red, 2 blue, and 1 seed bead. There we go. Pull it down nice and tight to your work, and again, go back through your longer beads. go up through your first row to tie it in. Again, just make sure when you're pulling your string through, you're not getting tangled in the other tails. Okay, so there we go. And then we're gonna go down to the next row. So we're gonna go down the orange bead, and this one we are gonna add another color. So this one is gonna be orange, red, red, blue, blue. So I just need to grab an orange bead here. I'm gonna grab one orange, one red, sorry, two red, two blue, whoops, there we go, you can see your little trail, and then one seed bead to act as the stop in that row. Again, go back through your longer beads. Go. So you got your tail, you can see there. Sorry, it's a little bit hard to see. There we go. And then you've got this string, and you're just going to go back up through that orange bead from that first row work. And then, oh, we're tangled here. Again, just watch when you're pulling your work tight that you're not getting tangled in the other legs. There we go. And then back down the next bead, which in this case is the yellow bead. There you go. You can see it coming down through. And in this one, we are going to do one yellow, one orange, two red, two blue, and a stop. So I'm just going to grab the yellow, yellow, orange, red, red, blue, and blue. There you go. And then one stop. Whoops, flung it. And then again, you're just going to go back through all of your longer beads till you're back to your first row you worked on. The first row you started when you were stacking them beside each other. So I'm just going to go through all the long beads here. And just be careful to not get tangled. There we go. And tangles happen, just take your time. You'll be able to get yourself situated and hopefully move on with your work. There we go. A little bit of a tangle there, sorry for the delay. Okay, now I'm just going to pull that nice and tight. And again, like I said, tangles do happen. Just take your time. You'll be able to get it untangled. So I'm just going to go back through these long beads, pull it nice and tight, and then up through, there you can see it there, it's through there, up through this yellow bead in the original first row that we worked on, and then just pull it nice and snug into your work. And we're going down the last bead here, you can see. So we're going to go down the last one, which is the white one. And in this row we have one white, one yellow, one orange, one orange, two red, and two blue. There we go. We got our little chain here. You can see it's kind of tricky to see sometimes. There we go. I'm just going to push those down. Then I'm going to add a seed bead as my stop. There it is there. Pull it down and then go back through your work, only going through the longer beads. Alright, again, just give it a little wiggle, get it nice and close to your work. There you have it, and you got your earrings coming together quite nicely there. We're going to go back up through the original first bead that we started with. And I don't like to tie my work off on the end of my work. I like to put it in the middle a little bit, so I'm going to go back down through my yellow bead. And I'm going to tie it around the leg here. So what I do is I just make a loop like I'm going to tie a knot around it up on the top here. So I'm just creating, oh, where'd it go? I'm just creating that loop. Can you see it there? Whoops, it's a little bit too tight. There we go. Created a loop around one of the legs, and then I'm just going to go around that loop a couple times, through it. So there's the loop. I'm just going to go through it once, through it twice, and then I'm going to give it a nice tug, and it should wiggle right into your work there. I like to do that twice. So I'm just going to go back around the leg. Oops, get twisted up here. There we go. So we'll around one of your legs. There we go. Get yourself a nice loop to work with, and then just go through it twice. Give it a nice good tug to really wiggle it into your work. And I like to leave a little bit of a tail on mine. You don't have to, but if you want to take your needle and thread it through the legs, the bead leg here, and then just cut it off as you go along, you can do that. You also want to go to your other side here and tie that off. So just make sure you tie everything off. Just again, loop it around your leg, and then just push your string through twice and give it a nice good tug. It should get nice and snug in there into your work. Give it a good wiggle, nice and tight. You can thread it through your leg, you can trim it nice and short, hide your strings however you please. And there you have it. Your one earring, and you can go ahead and follow this pattern again and then just turn, make sure your knots are tied to the back. Turn your earrings and then you will have your mirror image earrings. To add the hook on, you just grab a hook here. So with mine, I have this style. It's got like a little, almost like a little spring in a ball. You just open it up a little bit, as you can see there. You just slide it onto your hook, and just make sure that, there you go, give it a good like squeeze. Make sure that you're hanging it on your earring so they mirror each other at the end. Alright, now I'll go for watching my video. I hope that you have fun making your new earrings. Ona.